Okay, let me check my notes. Okay, so it looks like the last thing that we worked on was either the teal paragraph structure or it was how debates are scored. Which one sounds familiar? Did we talk about how debates are scored, or did we talk about the teal paragraph structure last?
Paragraph structure.
Pardon?
Last week we talked about the paragraph structure.
Ah, beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so today we're going to learn about how debates are scored. So let me get my things here. And yeah, so today we're going to talk about the most common way that debates are scored, and that is with the point system. And it's actually quite an easy and simple system, which is good.
Hello, teacher.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
That's good. So, where are we here? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go through a document that talks about the things that judges look for when we debate. Okay, so debates are scored to determine winners and assess the quality of arguments presented. Understanding how debates are scored is essential for participants to improve their debating skills. In this document, we will explore the components of scoring, scoring criteria, and we're also and your homework at the end of this lesson is going to be about how to score a debate. So the first thing that we need to look at is what the judges actually look for. So our first category is content. And the judges will look for things like the strength of your arguments. So how well have you thought through your arguments? How well have you put them together? How good is your writing? How good is your speaking? They also look for use of evidence and examples. So it's not enough just to state your point of view in a debate. You need to be able to produce evidence and examples to be able to back your point up and make your argument stronger. And finally, the judges look for logical reasoning. So that basically means, does your argument make sense? And are you able to prove it in a way that makes sense to everybody? Excuse me. Next, the judges look at your delivery. So they look at your presentation skills, which includes the second 2 points. So how is your body language? Are you looking around the room, all nervous and all up here. I should probably turn my camera on. So yeah, are you looking around the room as you're talking, like all over the place here? Or are you looking at members of the audience when you talk and looking at the judges, making eye contact? Are you using your hands to make gestures when you speak? Are you standing up nice and tall and straight? Or are you hunched over like this and just kind of staring at your cards all the time? So that sort of stuff does matter, because our body language can actually let the audience and the judges know what we're thinking, how we're feeling. So are you confident? Are you nervous? Do you believe in your arguments that you've prepared? So yeah, all of these things matter a lot, and voice modulation too. Are you projecting your voice nice and loud so everyone can hear? Really nervous and just talking really quiet. You can hear, trying to stay as small as possible. So all of this stuff does matter. So we're going to have a class or two, I think next week sometime, on your body language, presentation skills, and voice modulation. Next, we look at, or the judges will look at, rebuttals. So rebuttals are your counter argument. If your opponent says something, what are you going to say to prove their argument wrong? So they look for effective responses to your opponent's arguments, and they also look for counter arguments and refutations. So a counter argument is an argument that you make in return. So if I make an argument and say, zoos should be banned because they're cruel to animals, a counter argument to that would be, well, zoos actually aren't cruel to animals. They actually protect endangered species. They try to make the animals' habitat as lifelike as possible, and they try and make the animals comfortable. So that's a counter argument. They look for you proving your opponent's arguments wrong, and they also look at the arguments you offer in return. And finally, they look at teamwork. So are you working effectively with your teammates? Have you worked together to develop the strongest possible arguments? Is your second speaker able to rely on the arguments of the first speaker to make their case stronger? Things like this. And so that covers both of those points. So working with your teammates and supporting and building on each other's arguments. So you back each other up and you make arguments that you can build on with your partners. So do those 4 sections make sense? I'll take that as a yes. Okay. So these next 4 points, these are some of the things that the judges look for to assess debates as well. So these are quite similar to the components of scoring we just talked about, but they offer just a little bit different point of view. So the first thing is clarity. So are you communicating your ideas clearly? Do the judges and the audience understand what you're saying? Or are they just kind of staring at you with their mouths hung open because they don't know what you're talking about? And one of the things that helps with that is the second point, which is structured and coherent arguments. So have you written your arguments in the strongest possible way? And are you delivering your arguments clearly? Next, we have persuasiveness. So persuasion is just trying to convince somebody of your, trying to convince somebody to believe your ideas or to take action and do something by pointing out the positive reasons to do it. What can people gain from believing your idea or doing what you want them to do? So the first thing they look at under persuasiveness is convincing and influencing the audience. Are you managing to make the audience believe what you're saying? Or are you just talking and they're just kind of staring off into the distance, not really listening? And secondly, the effective use of rhetorical devices. So what that means is that we have a list of, there's a list of techniques. I usually teach 10 techniques, but there are more out there. And these techniques are used by lots of people, like people that make advertisements, politicians, anyone that delivers a speech in public, and or anyone that even anyone that writes an article for a newspaper or a website. They all use these different techniques, and they're techniques that when you read them or when you hear them, they help the audience to remember what you're saying. So you've got a better chance of winning them over. I'll include a link to a YouTube video to check out these techniques in the chat today. Excuse me. And the next thing they look for is organization. So have you organized your arguments in a way that they flow nicely? Like it's not just talking about this and then bang, you're talking about something else. Do the arguments make sense as you hear them one after the other? So that's the logical structure and flow of arguments. And also they look for smooth transitions between arguments. So are you, trying to think of an example. So are you, do your arguments, again, do they flow nicely from one to the next? Or is it kind of like a big shock when you say the next thing? It's like, whoa, what? So yeah, that's something that they look for, making sure that your arguments are structured well and that they flow smoothly from one to the next. And finally, they look for evidence. So they look for the use of relevant and reliable evidence to support your arguments. So are we, does the evidence help prove your point, or does it not really have anything to do with your argument? And also, is the evidence reliable? So has it come from somebody, from an expert that people are going to believe, or has it just come from your mate John down the road? So you need to be careful about how you pick your evidence. And finally, proper citation and referencing. So that just means when you mention your evidence in a debate, make sure you tell us who said that, or who wrote the report that you borrowed the information from. Because just citing a study, you're not giving the person credit, and as well, by giving that person credit, you're adding strength to your own argument too. So, do we have any questions about these points?
I don't have any.
Very good.
Me, I didn't understand scoring mean that.
Sorry, Lily, what was that? Which part do you need me to explain again?
Can you explain for me the word scoring? I didn't understand it yet.
Ah, the score. So how the judges score the debate. Well, yeah, so I'm actually about to show you guys how the judges will actually score your debate. There we go. So I've got a scorecard here. Actually. Okay, so we'll take it from the top of the page. So not all debates use the same scorecards exactly, but this is a pretty good this is a pretty good debate scorecard to show you what the judges do. So first of all, so I'm going to have to move this a bit. Okay. So first of all, you see here, pro or con. So that means that one score sheet is for each team. So judges will each usually have 2 scorecards so they can mark a debate. So let's just pick an example topic. Kids should be allowed to have smartphones. And then we'll say that this score sheet will be for the opposition team. We have the date. Today's debate is taking place on the 18th of July, 2023. And we have our 3 team members. Our first speaker is Tim. Second speaker is Cami. I'm just picking 3 names at random. You don't actually have to speak. I'm just picking 3 names at random. And Annie.
Do we need to speak now?
No, I've just picked three random names from the class just to put on the score sheet. You don't need to worry about it. So, as we see here, the judges will fill out the top so they know which team, which debate that they are marking. So, what they will do much better. Okay, so what they will do, I'll just quickly write those team names back. So Tim, Cami, and Annie. So Tim is speaker number 1, Cami is speaker number 2, and Annie is going to bring the team home nice and strong, number 3. So as each debater presents their arguments, you see here You see here, you've got level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So these are the points that the judges will award you for each of these categories. So the first thing you see is organization and clarity. So Tim comes up to speak first, and the judges are listening to him talk, and they decide, yeah, Tim's organized his arguments well. We understand what he's talking about. Pretty good job. And they'll award him 3 points. So Tim's number 1, so he gets a number 1 in the box. Use of arguments. They've decided that Tim gave some pretty good reasons. He gave some pretty good reasons. We're going to give him a 2 points for this bit. They listen to him give his evidence, and Tim gives super awesome evidence. He backs everything up with evidence. He cites his evidence, so he tells us where he got it from. We're going to give him 4 points for that. Well done, Tim. The first speaker doesn't need to, so the first speaker of the team doesn't need to rebuttal because he's the first person to speak. Wait. No, this is the con team, sorry. So yes, Tim will need to rebut. So Tim made some pretty good counter arguments. He had something to say for most of what the other team said. So we're going to give him a 3. And overall, Tim's presentation style, so how he spoke his arguments, his body language, use of his hands, was he confident? Yeah, Tim was pretty good. So we're going to give him 3 points. And then we do the same for Cami. So Cami's points were super organized. So she's going to get 4 points. The use of her arguments. She had some, most of her reasons and most of the reasons she gave were pretty good. I'm going to give her 2 points. Her facts and examples. So her evidence was okay. She could improve it a little bit. So we'll give her a 2. Her rebuttals were pretty good though. So we're going to give her a 3 as well. And overall, Cami's presentation style, she was very confident, had good positive body language. She was nice and loud so everyone could hear her. I'm going to give her 4 points. And finally,
Teacher,
Annie, yes?
Is a score is a total of points multiplication 5.
Correct. I still haven't quite worked out why they need to times it by 5, but they do, and that's how they get the score. But we'll get to that next. So finally, Annie steps up to speak. Annie's organization and clarity was pretty good. We're going to give her a 3. Her use of arguments was fantastic. So most of the reasons that she gave were very relevant to the issue. We're going to give her 4 points. Her use of examples and facts. Annie presented some very good arguments. So we're going to give her 3 points. Annie's rebuttals could use a bit of work. The judges decided they're going to give her 2 points for that. And overall, her presentation style was pretty good. Not much to work on, so we're going to give her 3 points. Over. We're going to take a quick break to count the points and see who wins. So we see here 3, 3, and 4, that's 10. 2, 3, and 4 is 9. 2, 3, and 4 is 9. 3, 3, 2 is 8. 3, 3, 4 is 10. So we've got 19, 27, 35. So overall, you guys scored 45 points, or your total levels of performance
Nice.
came out to
Is a
45.
225 points.
That's right. So now we need to take that total and times it by 5. So here, and in total, you guys came out with 225 points. Good effort.
The judge
So
do
the judge,
do the same task
Pardon?
with the another team.
yeah. So the judges will then also do this with the score sheet from the other team, and whichever team scored the most points will be declared the winners. So that's how a debate is scored. Oop. Share that again. Okay. So yeah, so just to go back over those categories of things that the judges look for. So we've got our content. So how strong are our arguments? We saw that was one of the scoring categories. We saw evidence. So we saw one for providing evidence. The logical reasoning, that went up too far. The logical reasoning ties in with the strength of your arguments. So if you've organized them well, you can actually make them stronger than if you haven't organized your arguments properly. So that's the first one. So what you say, that's basically what content is. What you say. So our next category is delivery, or how you say it. So we've got our presentation skills. So body language and voice modulation are both parts of presentation skills. But body language is things like posture. So are you standing up nice and tall? It's also things like hand gestures. Eye contact. So yeah, what is your body doing when you're delivering your arguments? We've then got voice modulation, which is things like volume, tone, speed. And yeah, so all of these things tie into your presentation skills. Next, we have rebuttals. So rebuttals, that is just, I suppose a simple word for rebuttal would be sticking up for your arguments. And the main point of rebuttals is to find weaknesses in your opponent's arguments. And finally, teamwork is just working together. Okay. So, does everybody understand what we talk about when we say how the debates are scored or what the judges look for? I shall take that as a yes. Excellent. So, sorry guys, just give me 2 moments. Okay, so I'm going to send you guys the link to a video. Sorry guys, I'll be 2 seconds. Just need to find this video. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've just sent you guys a link to a YouTube video for the for a high school debate championship. And what I want you guys to do is just to skip forward to the first speaker and just watch the first speaker of the affirmative team. And I want you guys to, on a sheet of note paper, so I'll send you the proper scorecard in the Zalo group, but I want you to watch this first speaker and have a go at judging the following categories. So we're going to do it just like the debate score sheet. We're looking for organization and clarity. use of arguments, use of evidence. We won't worry about the use of rebuttal for this one because we're just going to watch the first speaker. And also what you thought of the presentation style. So how do you think the debater did? And I want you to score each section. We'll go 1 to 5. Five being the best, 1 being the worst. And then after we've watched this debate, this person debate, we're going to have a discussion about what we saw and how we thought she did. We're going to discuss our results with the class. So yeah, I'll find the time to skip forward to Okay, guys, so I want you to go into that video, the New South Wales Premier's Debating Challenge, and I want you to skip forward to 3 minutes, 35 seconds. The chairperson of the debate or the interlocutor will give the opening remarks, and then we want to watch the first affirmative speaker. So start from 3:35. Yep, 3 minutes, 35 seconds. And just watch from there until the first affirmative speaker has spoken. So remember, grab a sheet of paper.
Teacher,
Yes.
when we watch it to the first people, will we stop watching?
Yes. So when you put the video on, skip ahead to, so I'll type it in the chat box as well. So start the video, skip ahead to 3 minutes, 35 seconds. Watch the chairperson's introduction and the first affirmative speaker's speech. So just those first two bits, the what do you call it? The chairperson's introduction speech and the first affirmative speaker. And remember, we're judging what they say, how they say it. So make sure we're taking notes. And I will ask you to tell me why you scored them that way. So make sure you're taking notes as well as scoring them. So I would like some justifications. Okay, so as soon as you're ready to start the video shortly.
Teacher, the video is only 1 minute, only 2 minutes.
Yes. So what was that, Tim?
The video is only 1 minute 54
And I
seconds.
don't know what's going on. Try that again. Sorry, Tim, I couldn't hear you before.
The video is only 1 minute 54 seconds.
The video that I'm sure that I sent you is 1 hour, 11 minutes and 11 seconds.
What?
So the video should be,
I see.
have a look in the chat box. Yeah, so it should be that long. And it would be so much easier if I were just able to play these videos in class for you. But unfortunately, copyright laws, I'm not allowed to. So if you're not getting the right video, I'll type the video title into the chat box. Okay. So if you're not getting the video with the length that I just put in the message before, type NSW Premieres, type that into YouTube, and you should be able to find the correct video. So watch the chairperson's speech and the first affirmative speaker. I'll see you guys once you're done.
When the first people is finished speaking, we stop the video.
Okay, so I imagine we should all be done now. So I would like to invite Hannah. What did you score this debate speaker's arguments? Hang on a second. Sorry, I can't. Let's try that again.
I don't know. It's sports because it is a very hard sport.
So you didn't, did you score the debater? Okay, I'll try someone else then. How about you, Tony? What did you score the debater?
The first category score him 5. The second I score him 5. The third I score him 4, and the last I score him 3.
Okay, so why did you score his organization and clarity with a 5?
I think he did the best in this. He did best in this.
Very
Right.
good. So you thought he did a great job there. What about his use of arguments? What did you think of the arguments that he made?
Argument produced a lot of argument and easy to understand.
Very good. And what did you think of his use of evidence?
His evidence is quite good, but it do not enough. I just listen to a little. He do not provide much evidence. Then I stop.
Okay. And finally, why did you rate his presentation style a 3?
Because he's do not usually use the body language much. He usually read it in his notebook.
Yep. So you and I actually marked his presentation style the same. I gave him a 3 as well for that, because he was looking down at his cards. I thought he was talking a bit fast sometimes. He did have good voice projection. He was nice and loud, I thought, but he did say quite a bit. So very good. Thank you, Tony. I like how you marked that debater. Next, how about Lily from Hanoi?
I think that his presentation is kind of good.
Okay, so what did you give his presentation out of 5?
I think I will give it 4 out of 5 because I know he speak out loud and also speak clearly his presentation and the debating, but he has to be more clearly, and even though we have to debate clear that people will understand our point.
Very good. So you thought he was nice and loud, but he needed to speak a bit clearer. Very good. And what did you think of his organization? Was he well organized with his speech, do you think?
I think he's well organized with his speech.
Very good. And what about the arguments that he presented? Did he give good arguments?
I think he gave good arguments that we can listen to and we can learn.
Very good. And finally, what did you think of the evidence that he gave for his arguments?
I think the evidence was right because we are not in my school. We are not allowed to bring junk food because it will spill all around the class and ants will like very large group and they will crawl into the class.
Very good. Thank you very much, Lily. I like how you decided to mark that debater. Well done. And we've got time for one more. So I'll ask Tim, please.
What do
So
you
first
ask?
of all, so what did you think of his organization and clarity?
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. What would you give it out of a 5?
No, I give 4.
You give it 4. Okay. Same as me.
He speak a little fast.
He was speaking a little bit fast, wasn't he? And
Yes.
what do you think of his use of arguments? Did you think he provided some good arguments?
Yes.
And what would you mark him out of 5 for his arguments?
I think it's 5.
You give him 5 for his arguments. Very good. And what did you think of his use of evidence?
Is I don't know.
Well, that must go to show the quality of his evidence, because I actually didn't think that he provided very much. He gave a lot of examples, I thought, but he didn't give a lot of good, solid evidence that you can quote. So if you don't know how to mark it, I'd say that my assessment's pretty close. He didn't give a whole lot of evidence. And finally, what did you think of his presentation? How he spoke, how he stood, how loud he was? What did you think of that?
It's 4.
4 out of 5. And why do you think 4 out of 5?
He's looking in the cards and he speak loud.
Very good. He was looking down at his cards, but he was projecting his voice quite loudly. So fantastic work, guys. A little bit later this evening, I've got one last class to do now, but after that class, I'm going to post your homework in the Zalo group, and that will be to watch that debate in full, and I want you to score both teams. So both teams, all 3 speakers. So you'll need 2 copies of the debate scorecard that I'm going to send you. And yeah, watch that whole debate and score the debaters. So well done, everybody. Thank you for your attention this evening. You did great. And I'll see you on Thursday.
Goodbye, teacher.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, teacher.
Bye.
Goodbye,
teacher.
teacher.
Goodbye, everybody. Bye-bye.